food chain activity. As you see, there is a group of organisms that we have and their names. We want to use these names to put them in order in our food chain. So you should think and find out the correct order for each organism according to its role in the ecosystem. Take your time to arrange the organisms correctly. Then we will come back to discuss the answer. Think, which organism should be at the beginning of the food chain? Of course, it should be a producer. And what does it mean, the producer? Is the grass. That it can make its own food. That's why we put the grass in the first thing in the food chain. Think again. Which organism should be in the second one? We need to look for an organism that eats the grass and to be here as a primary consumer. I bet you know the answer. Exactly, it's the grasshopper. And the next, which organism can eat the grasshopper? Excellent, it's the bird. And then, what comes next? The snake. So the snake will eat the bird. And after that, what comes at the end? The hawk. So the hawk will eat the snake. Did you observe the interaction among the organisms in the food chain? لاحظتوا التفاعلات اللي حصلت بين الكائنات في السلسلة الغذائية؟ First, the bird eats the grasshopper. The bird is a predator. But then the snake eats the bird. So it becomes a prey. So the bird here now becomes a prey. After that, the hawk eats the snake. So now the snake becomes a prey after being a predator. The question is, does this food chain exist in nature typically as it is? Or there are other organisms that can replace one of them? We know that there is a big variety of organisms in the nature that can feed on the same food. So each organism in this food chain can be replaced by another, if only the replacement plays the same role in the ecosystem. In other words, it should be feeding on the same type of food. يعني لو جه كائن مكان كائن تاني لازم يكون ليه نفس الدور أو بيتغذى بنفس الطريقة من السلسلة الغذائية عشان تستمر. This will take us to the second part of the activity. How would you add a grass-eating beetle that the bird eats in this model? Let's think. Where could we add it? Should we draw a new arrow, or could the beetle replace one of the organisms in our model? Let's see. So we have here the grass, the grasshopper, the bird, the snake, and the hawk. The beetle is a grass-eating, and it is a food for birds. Let's try to guess which organism can the beetle replace? Exactly, it will be the grasshopper. Now, we have two organisms eating grasshopper and the beetle. They are also food for birds. Do you observe how the interaction among organisms interconnect in nature? An organism can be a predator that feeds on organisms, and at the same time, it can be a prey for another animal. Think with me. could we add another organism to the food chain? If we want to add a rat, for example, where could I add it? Exactly, so I will add it here. So the rat eats the grass. So we could link another arrow from the grass to the rat. We could also link another arrow from the rat to a snake. Let's see how it will look like. Or also, I can add the hook. Now, I want each one of you to suggest a different organism and add it to our model. Share it with your colleagues how this addition could change the interaction among organisms. From this model, we can define the food chain as a path where energy flows through an ecosystem. بمعنى إن السلسلة الغذائية بتعتبر مسار بتنتقل فيه الطاقة في النظام البيئي. And this happens through a series of interconnect or interactions among organisms. So the food chain is the arrangement in which energy transfers in the form of food from one organism to another. Since most organisms eat many types of plants and animals, a single organism can be a part of several food chains. That's why the food chains intersect to form what we call it a food web.
تقدر تتابع كل دروسك على تطبيق مدرستنا بلس. مدرستنا، المستقبل يبدأ الآن.